Hello everyone, my name is Santosh. I'm having 10 plus years of experience in both manual and automation testing, and I worked on the both web and mobile applications. Now let us talk about the course content which I'm going to cover in this demo session. But before going there, I would like to give you a small presentation on the overview of the testing, what to do, how we do the testing in the real time. So those and I will talk about that. We will talk about the some STLC process and how the testing will be taken care from scratch to the until the production release. So we'll talk about it. So let us have a look now. Let me share my screen. Give me a moment, please. Yeah, I hope everyone's seeing my screen.
Yes, Santosh.
Okay. So today in the demo session, I'm going to cover this STLC process in the real time scenarios. So yeah, so let us talk about the what is STLC. So in real time, we will be having the software development team and the software development team as well as the software testing team. So in the software development side, we have uh, some methodologies like agile methodology and waterfall model. The same way in the STLC also we have some methodologies as well as it's a part of the methodology. So testing process is also a part of the agile methodology. So what they are going to do, how they are going to do, let us talk about it. So in the STLC process, there are 6 phases. They divided into 6 phases. First phase is requirement analysis. Later, we will go to the test planning and test case development, test case design, as well as test case design and environment setup, how they do the test execution and which tools they are going to use. So how they close the testing by which criteria they will close the test. So these and all, let us talk about. This is STLC is a process. It is a sequential process. So it one by one, it starts from the requirement analysis, and it will be closed until the test cycle closure. So let us talk about each one phase. This is the requirement analysis. Usually in the requirement analysis, what we do generally, the BA, business analyst, will get the requirements from the stakeholders, and he will create one, he will document it, he will analyze the business scenarios, how the business is going to use this product. So these and all, what the business analyst will do, he will analyze the requirements and he will document it as a BRD. So BRD is business requirement document or business requirement specification we can call. So in that, all the requirements will be there based on the, he will talk to the stakeholders and he will document everything. After that, it goes back to in parallel, the QA team also will be involved in the uh, analysis phase, like involved in the requirement phase. What they will do, a QA team also will understand all the requirements, and if they have any questions or anything, they can go back and check with the stakeholders, and they will document something like the test documents. So in the test document, whatever they understood and whatever in the scope, what should be done, and what are the scenarios should be covered, what are the strategies they will use. So everything will be covered in the document, testing document. So for every phase, there is a entry criteria as well as the exit criteria. So in the entry criteria for this requirement analysis is like activities in requirement phase testing. you can see like identify the types of the test to be performed, whether it's a functional test or non-functional test. The functionality testing, it is like we need to check the functionality of the product and UI of the product, and all these things like the system testing as well as the integration testing. So these and all will be covered under the functional test. Non-functional, if you go for non-functional testing will be like performance testing. Under the performance testing, we'll be having express testing, load testing, so volume testing. Everything will be carried out under the non-functional testing. So the based on that, gather the details about the testing priorities and the focus. Okay, what we are going to do, that we need to prioritize the things. So prepare the requirement traceability matrix. Here we'll talk about the traceability matrix, why we have this in the test cycle. So this is the main key role in the testing process, because here only we will be writing the test cases, we'll be writing the test scenarios, and we will be having the requirements. If you assume the left side, you are having the requirements, requirement 1, requirement 2, requirement 3, something like that, and right side assume that you will be writing the test scenarios for requirement 1, test scenarios for requirement 2, something like that. So this is the traceability matrix where you map your test scenarios or test cases with the original requirement. So based on that, you will it is like you will not, by that you will not miss any requirement in your testing cycle. So if you see the requirement, then you should have at least one test case written for that. So this is here you are tracing traceability. You have some traceability with the requirement as well as the test case written. So this is how it will be in the real time. So identify the test environment details where testing is supposed to be carried out. So in the environments, if you talk about, we for every organization, they're having different environment setups, like for development purpose dev box, QA purpose testing purpose stage box or QA box, or for production purpose production box, or bug fix purpose um, a bug fix environment. So whatever, so every organization will be having different environment setups. So in which box I need to perform this test. So that is also should be that is also that requirements also come from the stakeholders. So in this box only you need to perform the test, something like that. So there are the decision authority. So they, whatever they are saying, we need to follow that same way. So this is the entry criteria. We'll come back to the exit criteria. If you go to the exit criteria, it will be like RTM. That is what we talked about now. Requirement traceability matrix, as well as the automation feasibility report. I will tell you why we need to do this automation feasibility report. Automation feasibility means, so for example, you are writing the test cases for the login screen, some application login, Flipkart or whatever the application login. You will be having the username, password, remember me, or something like forgot password or change password, so on. So in these, if you write the 10 test cases for the login scenario or login use case, you cannot automate everything. So there will be some glitches or some difficulties while writing the automation, or 100% automation is not possible for a product. So in that case, what is the scope and what is the possibility, what is the feasibility, we need to find out. Out of 10 test cases, I can automate only the 7 test cases. So other 3, the only manually you have to test it. So that is how we need to analyze that what is the consequences, I mean what is the difficulties in that. If there is no difficulty, we can do the automation for 100% also for that login scenario, not for the whole product. I'm saying and 100% automation is not possible for a product. So that is the myth usually people will think about it. So is any question so far? I hope you don't have any questions.
No, Santosh, we are good.
Okay. So let us go to the next slide, which is test planning. Okay. So whatever you do, in general, we need to have some plan for that. The same way in the testing cycle also, we should have some plan to do. What plan? What is the exit criteria for that? What is the entry criteria for that? We will talk about it. So in the test planning, that the first point is the test tool selection. So first thing is we need to select the tool. So because for every testing, there must be some tool we use always. So like if you are doing the API testing, like SOAP UI, or you can use Postman, or like that we can. For the performance testing, if you go, like you need to use a JMeter or load runner, or these and all you can use. So for every test, there must be some tool we need to use. So that tool selection, everything should be done in the test planning phase and the test effort estimation. So if you're doing some test, we need to estimate the hours, like how many resources we have, and how many hours it will take to complete this test, and for retesting how much time it will take, for regression testing how much it will take. So everything should be come under the effort estimation. So if you're testing something, some application, then we need to estimate the hours first based on the resources. It varies based on the resources. If you have the two resources, if you have 10 hours, then two resources, you can do it in one day itself, 5 hours, 5 hours. So like that, you can split the hours in between the among the team, or in between the two resources, and you need to give the estimation for it. The same way, preparation of the test plan and strategy. Yeah. So in this scenario, what we are going to do, like the test strategy for every testing, we will be having some test strategies we use, and which kind of testing you are going to perform. Like regression testing, I will impact analysis testing, and I will cover the UI testing, and we have some third-party tools and some layers in between. So we need to do some integration testing in between the third party and the real application. So these and all will be there. So we need to mention everything in the test plan. So what is the scope of the testing, and what should be performed and what should not be tested. So these and all will be covered in the test plan. What is the delivery? We need to document the test plan as well as effort estimation document. So we need to give the two documents. One is test plan as well as the effort estimation document. And this is the exit criteria of this phase. I hope there is no doubt so far. So I'm going to the next slide. The next phase basically is the test development or design. Okay, so this is the phase where we write all the test cases and test scenarios and use cases. If you take the login scenario, we will be writing all the test cases for all the permutation and combinations, and with some positive test cases as well as the negative test cases and boundary level test cases. Like if you have the phone number, so the phone number in the India, the phone number will be like only 10 digits. So based on that only, we need to test the boundary levels of that. So we cannot give 15 digits or 12 digits. We cannot enter, we should not even enter it. So that is the boundary level of testing. So the same kind, we need to test all the, we need to write all kind of scenarios, positive scenarios and negative scenarios in this phase. So what is the base, as well as we need to create some scripts also for the automation perspective, automation point of view. So you have the manual test cases as well as the automation test cases, which is feasibility yes for the those test cases. So that will become automation test cases. So the test data means if you are testing some form like sign up something, so you need to test the form, the same sign up form with a different kind of test data, different kind of data. Like I will give some Santosh.Kumar as a first name, but usually the first name will not be having dot, underscore or at the rate, those and all. So uh, that kind of, that is the negative scenario. So the positive scenario, I will put just first name as Santosh and last name as Kumar or something like that. So in this way, we will be writing the, will be creating the test data also for the positive and negative scenarios, and we need to test accordingly. So that is how in this phase we will do. Yeah. So this is the environment setup phase. So here we already talked about the environment setup. That is, every organization will be having their own setup. It's called dev box and stage box and UAT box or the production box. So these are not development box. They will do all the development. They will do some unit testing, those and all, and they will do move that same code to the staging box, and they will request QA team to test it. So what we do as a QA, once the environment is set up as a QA box, then we need to use that box for our testing. Like they will create some instant for the DB and for the all the third-party tools what we use for the testing, all the tools and everything. So there will be some host and port numbers. So those information they will do. We need to connect to that environment and we need to test it. That is how it works. This is the one-time setup. It is like once you have the environment setup already, then whenever you want, you can go and test the application in that environment. And if you have the third-party tool, like if it involves the third party also, then you should install that application in the premise also, like install the application in the same environment, the same setup, the same system. You need to install that software also, so to communicate with the real application. So that is how we will be having the environment setup as per what are the points we'll see. As per the requirement and architecture document, the list of required software and hardware. Yeah. So the same thing they are saying, like the required softwares and hardwares, everything should be prepared and installed in the system. Then only we can be able to test the application. And setting up the environment, the creation of the test data. The same, we already talked about the test data, and test data also should be created when environment setup. So then only we can environment will be ready, as well as the test data is ready to test the application. All covered in this phase. And deliverables, what is the outcome of this test environment setup? Test environment setup is ready. Yes, ready. And test data is created. Yes, we created the test data, result of the smoke testing. So what we do basically, once they move the code from dev to QA box, then we have the uh, we need to do some kind of smoke testing. Smoke testing in the sense like whether the build is properly moved. Well, when the build is proper, or when uh, the files are moved properly from the dev box to QA box or not. So this we need to test some links are working. Primary, the main scenarios are main menu items, menu options are uh, the main screens are properly loaded or not, or is there any internal errors? Was there any 404 or 500 page not found errors? So this and all should not. These errors may occur in uh, the build. So that is how we need to certify the build before we go for the other testing, kind of regression testing or system testing, whatever the integration testing. First, the build should be proper. Then only we can able to test the application. So this is the test execution. So this is the main crucial phase, because here only we will be doing all the testing. So whatever the requirement done, test environment is ready, and test cases we have written, everything done. And this is the law. This is almost the last phase. Before the last phase, we could say like test execution. We need to execute the test cases, whatever we have written. Suppose the login scenario will take like 10 test cases I written. The based on the 10 test cases, I need to test everything in the application. The same way, the test scripts. If you're writing something, if you've written already the automation scripts, then you need to run those scripts also when you're doing this test execution process. So we need to test all the test cases. You need to run or write all the automation scripts and capture the review and analyze the test results. So once you once you tested everything, then you have to analyze the test results, whether how many test cases are passed, how many test cases are failed, how many test cases blocked, which means you cannot able to test it because of some third party application is not available, or it is that some third party server is down, or whatever it could be. So based on that, you need to analyze the test cases. Other maybe like if you are testing in the mobile application, like few test cases will be applicable only for the Android, not for the iOS. So in that case, it is not applicable for the Android. You need to mention all those in the test results. So raising the defects and tracking for its closure. So what we do, whatever the failed test cases, we need to take that, and we need to create some defects in some tool called we used to use. We have some bug tracking tools called Jira, Bugzilla. So we have many yeah, QC, quality center. We have many things, many tools available in the market. So or in the Jira also we have some X-ray or something for writing the test cases, test trail for test case management. So we have many tools for the test execution, test cases, writing the test cases, or creating the bugs in the Jira or Bugzilla tools, so on. What are all the documents involved in this? Like you will be having the test case document, test execution report, which is pass, which is failure, and everything, and the bug report, and the requirement traceability matrix. So here also we'll be having the requirement traceability matrix. We already talked about it, like where you map the test cases with the test scenarios. So this requirement, you have this test case, and this test case failed. This is the defect number. So you need to map three items. One is requirement, another one is uh, the test scenario which you written. The third one is the defect, whether it's pass or fail. If it is pass, then pass, no issues about it. Or if you find any issues in that, then you need to create a defect and map to the that requirement. So when you're doing that, when you're testing the requirement, you found this bug. So clearly you can see the report traceability there. That's why it's called as requirement traceability matrix. The deliverables. What is the deliverables? Defect reports completed. The RPM we already, and test cases updated with the results. So here nowadays we will be, not only nowadays, since many years we will be having the integration between the I mean between the bug tracking tools as well as the test case management tool. So by that, if you create any bug, then what are all the test cases you tested? What are the test cases you failed? Then it will be shown in the bug tracking tool itself. So in the bug tracking tool, when you create the defect, then underneath will be having the integration part, integration results. So in the integration, what you integrated, the test case management tool you integrated. So there you can see all the test cases which are failed by the QA team. So that is the integration. If you see the defect, then easily you can understand, okay, in these scenarios only, this is failed. That is why they raised this issue. This is the bug, something. So easy to track and easy to identify and easy to manage the bugs as well as the test cases which you failed. Here's the test report. Yeah. So this is defect reporting. We already talked about. We'll be having bug reporting tools like Jira and Bugzilla and QC, the many tools we have in the market. There we need to raise the bug. Usually if you raise the bug, then every bug type we will be having lots of bug types, like based on the organization, according to the organization, they will create the issue types. The issue type could be a bug or improvement or task or whatever the suggestion, or it could be anything, or subtask or whatever. So usually we will be if you are raising the bug, then the issue type will be bug only. So for every issue type, they will be creating some workflows, and usually there will be some default workflows also for every issue type, usually in the bug tracking tools. But if the company wants to change the workflow according to their requirement, then they can go and update, they can go and change the existing workflow. They can customize the existing workflow also in the bug life cycle. So usually, if you create the bug, it will be created as a new. So in the UI, it will show as open state. Once it is assigned to a developer, then it will become. The developer will update it as in progress. So by that, okay, we will come to know some developer is assigned already, and he is going to work on that. It's in progress. The work is in progress. Once it is fixed, then developer will put it as fixed, and it will show on the UI that is resolved or something, or fixed or something. And it is, once it is fixed, and the code will be moved to the QA box or stage box, then the uh, status would be like in stage or stage ready for the stage or something. Then once we tested, and we can once we have tested everything, and we will be having some, okay, the QA done, some status like QA completed, QA passed. So this kind of statuses we can create, and if you just click the button, then the status will be updated accordingly. The same way it works. So once it is moved, once we are done with this, we can move that to the UAT box. So once the business user or someone test that and they will approve it. Once everything done, then we will move the same code to the production as a product release later. That's it. So this is the and exit criteria. In the exit criteria, we'll be having test report as well as the bug report. These are the outcomes of from this stage. So ST stage involved defect report. And this is the last phase. This is like test cycle closure. This is how we already talked about. Once we're done with the staging, it goes to the UAT. And once UAT done, business user approved the all our test cases and approved the scenarios, approved the product. Then it goes to the it goes to the production directly to the it's a next is go live. Go live means like it will be the whatever we tested, the product, everything, all those changes will be deployed into the production environment. That means the customer, live customer, can able to use the application. So whatever the changes, everything will be reflected in that application. So they will release some build like APK for the Android and IPA file for the iOS, or if they have any website or web portals, then that is the build they will release the web application build everything. So yeah, documents. What are the documents involved? What are the documents like the test summary report, the UAT test plan, and the UAT test cases. So this we already talked about the entry exit criteria. The same applies here. And this is the STLC process. We already talked about the software development life cycle and software testing life cycle. In the software development, what we do, I just mentioned those. Uh, Software development life cycle can be used for planning, implementation, as well in STLC for like governance only the testing, and we'll focus on only the testing items. So quality related in the activities of the product. So here we analyze and understand the okay developer. If developer wants to develop the product, then he has to understand everything first. The whole requirement 100% he has to understand. Otherwise, the product will become in different way. So it will not meet the requirement at all. So yeah, this and all will be come under the SDLC. This and all will be come under the factors will come under SDLC. Yeah. So yeah, I'm done with the demo now, and let us just talk about the course content. Here you can see the high level course content. I will cover both the manual testing as well as the automation also. So in the manual testing, these are the topics we'll be covering. You can see here. These are the topics, and API testing topics also, like what is the basics of API and what APIs we have in the market, like REST-based API and SOAP-based API, and how can we configure in the Postman tool or JMeter or SOAP UI tool, and uh, create the how you create the API. So everything will be covered here. And how to test the API, what are the query parameters, what are the inputs, how you pass the inputs, how you create the parameters, and how you prioritize the parameters inputs. So these and all I will cover those. And the performance testing topics also, like the basics of the performance, how you do, and what are all the factors we need to take care when we are doing the performance test, everything. And automation basics, I will cover only the Selenium for the web application, APM for the mobile application will cover. And we'll talk about the why we need to use the why we need to do the automation, why not manual, and what are the advantages and disadvantages, and what is the web driver, and how you set up the Eclipse and Java and Selenium, and how you use the different web drivers like the Chrome and Firefox drivers. How you identify the element, what all the elements will be available, and in how many ways you can identify the elements. How can you inspect the elements? So those will be covered. So this is for mobile application. We use APM. How you set up the APM? We have lots of lots of tools available in the market, but I am going to cover only the APM setup. Sorry. Yeah. So how you are going to? I mean, how to install the software, and how to configure the elements, and how to set up the SDKs, and how to customize your how to create the customized emulator. So all will be covered. I will take one APK example, and will show you how it will work. Okay. So that is the example. So thank you. Have a nice day, guys. Thanks for your patience. If you have any questions, you can ask now. Or if no questions, let us wrap up this session, demo session. Thanks a lot again. And we have, if you have any queries on the course content, you can go and check with the team, Subbu, and the team members also. Okay. So yeah, that's all, guys. Thanks a lot again. Yeah. Bye. Take
Thanks,
care.
Santosh. Thanks very much for the demo.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much.